For those of you that don't recognize me, I'm Brian Van Dyne, and joining me today in my dump truck All right, can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? No audio. The hell? I got a microphone right here. Still not working? All right, let's figure this out. Yeah, you can hear me now. So, okay, so the microphone is not working. I guess I got to charge it up or something. Thought I had it charged. All right, let me start again. Keep starting over. How well can you hear me? This probably doesn't sound that great because I'm probably connected to the audio of the truck. Scale of 1 to 10, how's the audio now? 10 is perfect, or like 5, it's kind of like connected to the audio of the truck, or am I on the audio of the phone? Somebody let me know in the chat. So when you run a business, there's a lot of give and take, right? So I want to talk to you guys about what are some of the give and takes as running a business versus being an employee for somebody. And so let's start this out by asking ourselves, what do you, like, pretend you have a business, right? Let's just say you have, just imagine if you haven't started a dump truck business or you haven't started your business yet, imagine yourself running your perfect business, right? You love what you do. You are making the amount of money you want to make. You feel fulfilled in life. You feel like your duty is being accomplished. What would you be willing, like, let's say, what would you be willing to trade for something like that? Are you willing to sell your house to start that kind of business? Are you willing to stop eating out for that kind of business? Like, what are you willing to give up in your life right now that you're currently enjoying to have something like that? Because guaranteed you're going to have to give something up. That's the way the world works, right? If you have all the time in the world working for somebody, you're going to end up having to give up some of that time to make money. So ask yourself, and I'm trying to figure out how to frame this question. So the way I heard this question before asked was, somebody asked Dave Ramsey, they said, hey, this is our situation. We have all this debt or whatever, and we're living our life this way. And he basically asked them the question, well, would you rather have no debt and all this money, or would you rather still have this thing and all the debt? Right? Because they're trying to justify having something, and he's like, well, what would you rather have? And so they're like, well, we would rather have this. And he's like, well, why don't you do this instead? So I'm sucking at phrasing this question. I thought I had it thought out in my mind, but it's not coming out the way I had it thought in my mind. Somebody help me out here. Because there's a lot of give and takes in business. You're not going to have everything when you're running a business. For example, business takes a lot of your time and your mentality and your thought processing power. For example, as a business owner, when I'm awake, I'm thinking about my business. Yeah, I was babbling a lot there, but I figured it out. Okay, Jack, so when you're running a business, 90% of the time you're thinking about your business. If you're not, then your business probably isn't that successful, right? Successful businessmen work almost every single hour that they're awake. And by working, I mean they're literally thinking of everything in their business. They're thinking, okay, is my maintenance schedule on track? Do I have work scheduled? What are the potential liabilities my company is coming into contact with? How can I prevent that type of stuff, right? Or would you rather not have to think about anything with your business and you're just a robot? Because as a company employee, when you're not at work, you're not really required to think about work at all. But when I was delivering roofing, I woke up, went to work. I'm thinking about work. As soon as I punched out, I was punched out. I was not thinking about loading roofs. I was not thinking about, okay, what's the next best way to stack these bundles? No. I was not thinking about anything about that. I was thinking about, I'm about to spend this money. We're going to have, we're going to do this and this and this, and we're going to try and enjoy our life. This. As a business owner, it's going to be very difficult for you to stop thinking about your business. Because literally, if your business isn't running properly, then you're not eating, or you're not growing for the future, right? You're not growing, you're shrinking. That's just the way the business works, right? Like, it's hard to walk on top of a fence. Like, people try and walk the fence, but it's hard to walk on the fence, right? So you're either growing or you're shrinking. You'll be able to walk on the fence for a couple steps, but eventually you're going to fall off. That's just the way it happens. What side of the fence do you fall off on? The growing side or the shrinking side? Yeah, I decided to shave it all off. Summer's around the corner, and, one of the main reasons, I gotta be honest, I just found out my barber moved to Arizona, and I'm like, well, I don't know any other barbers to trust with my beard, so I'm like, I'm just gonna shave it off until I find until I get some referrals, because it really doesn't take me long to grow a beard, guys. I can literally grow a beard in like 2-3 weeks. Like, it's pretty quick for me. I got the DNA for a beard. Like, that's undisputable. So, and I know, Mike, you ran a business very successfully. You know as well as I do, in business, there's give and takes, right? You can't have everything. That's not the way this world works. So, ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to have the perfect business? Something that fulfills you and, pays the bills. At first, one of the first things that I was willing to give up was the ability to not care or, like, let me put it this way. I gave up the ability to be lazy about where my money was coming from. Because as an employee, you really don't have to care where how the money just shows up in your bank. It just shows up. You're like, oh yeah, I go to work, I do this, and then boom, I get my paycheck, and I spend it all. As a business owner, you literally have to think of where the money is coming from and how it's made. You got to understand everything about it, because you can't just expect money to show up in your account. It doesn't work like that. That was one of the things that I started working on, that trying to understand how businesses work before I ever started my business. And I was lucky enough to have one of the viewers ask me a question. He said, Brian, how do you expect to find work for your dump truck? How are you going to look for work? And I had never really thought about that before. And I said in the video, I said, look, I don't know how I'm going to find work, but here's how I think I'm going to try, right? So that question kind of got me thinking, like, how am I going to find work? Like, what is the best way to find work? Who needs dump trucks? Who hires dump trucks, right? And, a lot of times your brain tries to go the easy route. You say, okay, well, he's working. Maybe I can ask him, right? But then you start to realize, wait a second, why would I ask my competition how to win the game? Why would my competition help me win? Because I'm just going to be taking work away from him, right? There's got to be a mutual benefit. If there's no mutual benefit, he's not going to tell you how he's going to win. You have to learn how to save your pennies before you try to spend dollars. That's a good little. Yeah, if you don't save your pennies, you ain't gonna end up with dollars. That's the way the world works, you know. Plus you gotta learn how to make dollars too. You gotta learn how to make those pennies. It's tough to make dollars, you know, and 100% of the time, you're not getting rich off of one job. That's the way the world works. If you're getting rich off one job, it's probably because, the person you're getting the work from doesn't know what the going rate is, for one. That's why you're making so much money on it. Or two, they're in a real pinch, and then they probably won't use you again. So that's not like long-lasting wealth, right? So you gotta collect the gold plates. That's basically what he's saying. You gotta collect the gold plates, and then at the end of the year, you're gonna have a bag full of gold dust, and it's gonna be worth something. You know, chance of you picking up a gold nugget and being able to spend that is gonna be a lot harder. Okay, so another thing that I feel like I have, it's kind of a small trade-off, is, like, I would say, when you are working for somebody and you're not, like, really pushing your business that hard, you're going to have a lot of people around you that aren't really your friends. You kind of consider them friends, but you don't really know their true nature. You know, like, you really don't know their true nature. And the moment you start to really make that bag, like, you start to really haul in some cash and start building some serious wealth and start, like, getting some cool stuff, dude, those people are gonna, like, they will flip on you, like they'll get jealous immediately. Like, they start to get mad. You know, like, how is this guy doing it? Like, what the heck? You know? And then, so that's one thing you're going to give up is, you know, these guys that you think they're kind of your friends. It's kind of fun to interact with them, you know, and then at the end of the day, you're going to realize that they're not really on your team, you know. Like, for example, Justin is one of those classic examples for me, right? Because, like, I watched Justin's videos I watched a couple of his videos when I first decided, you know, it was after I bought a dump truck that I watched his videos, by the way. I had bought my dump truck, and I was trying to find information on dump truck businesses on YouTube, and there was basically zero, except for Justin had like one or two videos about the dump truck business, and then all his other videos were Snap-on videos or whatever. But, you know, I started doing my videos, and I never commented on any of his videos, but I thought he was funny, you know. And so I was doing my thing, and then all of a sudden, he mentions me in one of his videos, or he reaches out to me, and I was like, oh, snap, like, this is cool, like, yo, what's up, you know? And he's giving me some advice, and everything was cool, right? But then, like, I started to grow in my business, right? I bought a trailer, I bought a backhoe, and you know, I didn't really ask him for his advice, and he tried to give me his advice on some things that I didn't ask, you know. And then I was like, you know, because friends, like true friends, stick up for each other. That's what a real friend does. Even if it puts you in an uncomfortable position, a good friend is going to stick up for you. That's just how it goes, right? And so then we had the dump truck chick, you know, was like disrespecting me. And I was like, yo, you going to let this slide? Like, at least back me up a little bit, you know, ask her where the proof is. And he didn't. And I'm like, well, this is stupid. This ain't no friendship. Like, I thought this was kind of, you know, like a mutual thing. Like, you know, we're trying to build this community. And then all of a sudden, there was no friendship there. You know? And then he started talking about my wife and my kids. And so, this is what happens. When you run a business and it's successful, people that are trying to root for you, as soon as they see that you're on a bigger level than them and you're doing higher numbers than them or whatever, then they start to get jealous. And then automatically your competition, you are no longer their friend, you're their competition, right? So as you know, one thing you're going to give up as a business owner, you're going to give up on a lot of friendships. You're going to have to cut a lot of people out of your life because they're not on your team. They're not for you. They say they are, but they ain't. A lot of your family members, you know, you think they like you, they don't like you. Once you start making it, they're going to be jealous of you. And that's the cold, hard truth. So, you know, your slightly dysfunctional family meetings are going to become very dysfunctional. You know, they're not going to be happy for you because every time they talk to you and you tell them how good you're doing, it's going to shed light on how crappy they're doing. And that's going to make them feel bad about themselves. And then who are they going to take it out on? They're not going to take it out on themselves. People can never take accountability for their shortcomings, so they have to put it on you. At least that's the way I've been feeling. You know, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to hurt their feelings even more. Even though they probably don't watch my videos. That's all right, you know. But I just don't want to irritate the situation more. But also, I would say, as a business owner, one thing you're going to end up giving up is a lot more of your time. You have to be willing to give up more of your time for your business. Like when you're working for somebody, as soon as you clock out, the responsibility ends. But as a business owner, responsibility never ends. You know, if somebody calls you at 8 o'clock, you don't have work the next day, and somebody calls you at 8 o'clock, and you don't answer that call, then that's money you're not going to make. Your business is going to suffer. So you're on call, you know. And even if you do have work the next day, somebody calls you at 8 o'clock, you're not just going to ignore them because that is one of your potential customers or one of your main customers, and and you want to at least acknowledge the fact that they're there. You can't just ignore their call and expect them to not look somewhere else for work or for somebody to work for them, right? So there's a lot of trade-offs when you run your own business. What are you willing to trade to run a business? A lot of you guys think that you want to run a business, you know, and I thought I wanted to run a business like super hardcore, and I still love running my business. But there's a lot of trade-offs I didn't know I was going to have to make that I ended up making, and you know, you got to live with it, and you know, you got to kind of be happy with it, or you don't run a business. You know, it's just that simple. And to be honest with you, you know, I watched this. It was an Instagram reel or something. It was Mark Cuban, and he said, you know, I would rather make $70,000 a year working 100 hours a week working for myself than making $700,000 a year working for somebody else. And I feel 100% the same way. I really do. I feel like I would rather work for myself. There's just a sense of accomplishment that you get from running a business. So, we got 6 people watching this live stream. 1 like. That's kind of ridiculous. Got a bunch of ninja watchers over here. A ninja watcher is somebody who watches and then doesn't engage at all. Like, what are you even watching for? Like, have some sort of input. It's a live stream. That is true. You are always working for somebody. But I would say it's always somebody, not one person. Like, you have, as a business owner, you have the ability to change who you're working for. As a company employee, you don't get to change who your boss is. Like, you just got to accept your boss for who he is. You know? You don't get to change your boss. As a company, as a business owner, if you don't like the BS your customer's trying to put you through, then you just find a different customer. You know? Like, for the most part, you know. I feel like there's more ways, like, if somebody's being petty, as a business owner, you can be petty back without, you know, losing your livelihood because you have more than one customer, too, you know? Like, I'm not the type of person to be petty, but I'm just saying, I feel like there's more of an opportunity for you to be petty if you wanted to, as a business owner. Like, as a company employee, I was never petty with any of my bosses. Like, even if they told me some stupid stuff, you just take it, or else they're going to find somebody else. You know, as a business owner, sometimes you're in a position where they don't have a choice. They need a dump truck, you know. Exactly. And I would say that's one of the major differences between running a business and being a company employee is a company employee, you're kind of boxed into one thing. As a business owner, you can literally diversify into many things, you know. Like, what type of like for example, in the dump truck industry, I can either do paving, or I can haul for a quarry, or I can haul for a dirt contractor. I can do my own jobs, you know. I can work for homeowners. I can work for major contractors. Like the diversity is there. As a as a company